Salamander, SaiyanSalamander here, and welcome to my first Fire Emblem Heroes weapon theory crafting video of 2021. And this time we're starting off the year with a bang, as I finally get to talk about my favourite seasonal units in Fae at the moment. If you've seen my emotes over on Twitch, then I think you can guess who my favourite character is, but I want to save the best till last, so I'll be talking about her later on. So let's jump straight into the banner of focus this time, around the Ylissean Summer banner. The banner was the very first summer banner that we got in Fae, and the characters are based on Fire Emblem Awakening. All 4 characters basically got a very early version of a Spectrum push skill, but with its limited stat bonuses and very limited HP requirement, it's not really that great of a weapon in my opinion. So as always, I've completely changed the weapon effects for a lot of these units to make them more unique and stand out from each other, but there is one character on this list who has supercharged the effect of. Now let's start things off with the first character of this banner that I'll be talking about. It's the Seaside Tactician, female Robin. Summer Robin is a Lance Infantry unit who comes equipped with a Deft Harpoon. Like I just mentioned, it's basically a very early push skill as it boosts all the unit stats by 2, but only at 100% HP, and when the unit attacks, they take 2 damage after combat. Summer Robin wasn't a bad unit at the time of her release because she's basically a jack of all trades kind of character, having decent stat points distributed in all of her stats. But with power creep being a thing, the jack of all trades has just become a master of none, as all her stats are kind of just below average now. In order to get some decent stats, she needs to be plus 10 merge with max Dragon Flowers, and that's really tough to do considering how scarce Dragon Flowers are and Robin being a 5-star exclusive and a seasonal unit to boost. But I thought I'd try give her a weapon that gives her some nice stat boosts and also suits her character well too as a strategist of the Shepherds. So let's go over her new weapon, Tactical Trident. To start off with, I gave the weapon plus 2 attack and speed, as while her stats are pretty well rounded overall, these stats are the main ones you want to invest in. I also made her effective against beasts due to her constantly fighting Ryzen, and I thought it'd be funny since she's hunting for fish in her summer ult, so I kinda just translated fishing into a beast layer weapon and called it a day. For the final weapon effect, I gave her a new speed damage reduction skill. We have Close Call, which is based on hit and run, and Repel, which is based on knockback. So I decided to base Robin's skill on dragback, since I thought it was fitting of a harpoon, stabbing the fish and then dragging it back to land once you've caught it. So I decided to call the new skill Seize. Seize is built into Robin's base weapon effect and literally works just like Spurn, Repel or Close Call. The only difference is that Seize has the same effect as Dragback instead of the other 2 bonus effects that the other skills give. The Refine, however, is where the tactical part of the weapon comes in. It has the same activation condition of my buffed up Tactical Bolt that I gave Robin in the last Re-Finery video, so it works as long as the number of allies' movement types on the current team equals 50% of the team or less, so it will still activate on brigade teams where you'll definitely have more than 2 allies of the same unit type. If this activation condition is met, then Robin gains plus 7 to all of their stats, and gets given an adaptive damage condition, so she can strike her foes against their defense or resistance depending on which stat is lower. This weapon really helps Robin since her main problem is just not having enough points distributed in each stat because they're distributed so evenly. However, now that isn't a problem with the big increase she gets in every stat, and how hard she can hit with adaptive damage, as long as you build a team well enough around her. This somewhat limits how you build a team around Robin, but there's still a lot of team possibilities, even with the movement type restrictions, and her new weapon payoff is definitely worth it, making her from a below average to a big ball of stats, who can attack her enemies right where it hurts. Stealing the next spot in this video is Ylissean's own Sweet Thief, Summer Gaius. For his summer variant, he stays colourless, but he trades his daggers for a refreshing Bolt Plus bow. I already went on over the general effect of the original Ylissean Summer weapon, so let's jump straight into his new weapon, Sweet Summer. Of course now Gaius has been severely power crept, but at the time he was known for his good speed and fairly decent resistance. So because of that, I decided to give him plus 3 res and an accelerated special cooldown. As for the rest of his base weapon as an archer, Gaius is effective against flying foes. He also has an effect that was inspired by Koi Koi in my Discord server. So if you have any theorycraft ideas and refine buff ideas, then defo check out the gacha channel in the Discord, that'll be linked in the description below. The reason I say inspired is because I actually misread the original idea, as her idea was that it would work as a Spectrum push skill above 50% HP, and if the foe's HP is below 50%, then Gaius would perform a follow-up attack before the foe can attack. What I thought the idea said, however, was that it had one effect when Gaius was 50% HP or higher, and another effect when his HP was lower than 50%. Even though I mistook the effect, I still thought it was a cool concept, and decided to roll with it. If Gaius has 50% HP and initiates combat, he can make a follow-up attack before the foe can counter-attack. Kind of like effects like Forsetti and Desperation. However, when he has 50% HP or lower, then Gaius restores 7 health per attack. The Refine effect is sort of like a nerf version of Freya's Binding Necklace skill. If Gaius has no bonuses in a stat while foe has bonuses, Gaius can neutralize the foe's bonuses and steal those bonuses for himself. It's perfect for a thief like him, and while it isn't as good as Binding Necklace inflicting a penalty on the foe instead of neutralizing the bonuses, it's still a really good effect, and I think the Refine suits him really well. Overall, Summer Gaius is now a fantastic unit who can be seen sealing enemy bonuses and candy during the summer season, with the base effect having an interesting depth that we don't usually get to see. The third unit on this banner is actually the one that was the hardest for me to come up with, and was the last weapon concept I thought of for this video, and that unit is the Horizon Watcher, Frederick. In the summer season, Frederick has cleared the seashells to create a path for his Lord Crom, and amongst all these shells he found his brand new weapon, which I'm calling Sea God Shells. But before I go into his weapon, let's talk about his stats for a second. Honestly, they're pretty bad. He had decent attack and physical bulk, and even workable speed when he first came out. But with how much power creep there's been since his release, his stats are just overall really below average. So I'm hoping this new weapon that I've given him will just be the push he needs in the right direction to be a pretty good dagger unit, and one that will give him the strength to protect Crom when it's finally his time to face the summer heat. For the base weapon, Frederick gets +3 defense, an accelerated cooldown, and has an inbuilt Fury 4 into his weapon too. As for Refine, it isn't something too insane, but it's really nice on Frederick, as it's a skill he can't usually obtain in either of his alt costumes so far. Frederick gets Wrath 3 built into his weapon, so he can get even more of an accelerated special cooldown and also deal an extra +10 damage when he attacks. It contrasts his old weapon pretty well, as it was originally a weapon effect that only activated when Frederick has 100% HP, and now Frederick works better as a unit with less HP, making him a great fit for skills like Brazen and Desperation 3. Overall, while Frederick could definitely use some further investment still, even with this new weapon, I think he's now a great unit. And while he's arguably one of the weaker weapons I theory crafted on this banner, he's definitely strong enough to hop off the barracks bench and get back to watching the Horizons. Of course I saved the best till last with my absolute favourite character in the entire franchise. I apologise in advance for showing favouritism to her and definitely giving her the best weapon on this banner, but I tried to hold myself back a tad, okay? The final unit is the Summering Scion Adult Summer Tiki. Like I said at the start of the video, I love Tiki. She's used in all my emotes, I named one of my most used draft picks after her, there's a ton of cool artwork of her that I use in different playthroughs I do over on Twitch. Hell, she's literally the mascot of the entire channel. So of course I gave her an amazing new weapon, with an even better pun for the name. So let me introduce Tiki's brand new axe, the Melon Keddy. It's a 16 might axe that grants +3 speed and is effective against beasts and dragons. For the rest of the base effect, it's actually based on Ylissean Summer Unit's original weapons, as well as the weapon that I currently run on my own Summer Tiki. Like I said at the very start of the video, the early effects was an early Spectrum push skill, so let's show IS what a really good Spectrum push skill looks like. For the base and the Refine effects activation conditions, they're both based on how much HP Tiki has, so she needs HP equal to or above 25% for the effects to activate. For the base effect, when this condition is met, Tiki gains +5 to all of her stats, and grants a special cooldown charge +1 per her own attack, though she takes 5 damage after combat. The reason why I did this is because the main weapon I use on Tiki is a huge fan, and when Tiki gets a new preferred weapon, I don't want to change my build for her much. So I'm hoping an upgrade to the huge fan with Tiki's new weapon, instead of having an alternative weapon where I'd have to change what set I have on her. As for Refine under the same condition, Tiki is able to get a conditional distant counter and even an inbuilt conditional null C disrupt. The reason for this is because I normally run DC and Spurn on Tiki, but with this new weapon I can swap DC for a different skill and have null C disrupt and Spurn on Tiki at the same time. I don't know what I'd like to run on the A slot instead at the moment, but maybe I could run a solo skill instead of on my S slot, and run Mystic Boost on the S slot so I can heal up the damage that Tiki takes with her push weapon. Overall, I probably made Summer Tiki the best unit on the banner, but I don't think I went too overboard with her. She's a fantastic unit already with good HP, attack and defense, workable speed, and mere res, but with this weapon she'll become an insanely speedy tank. This way Tiki won't die, will take the lives on the battlefield, and is even granted a brand new niche by making her effective against dragons as well as beast units, making it even easier for her to take down these foes. That's all for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it, my dudes. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which weapon I made was your favourite, and how you'd personally make each of these weapons. I also do a bunch of content over on Twitch if you want to see some live playthroughs of games like The World Ends With You, Fire Emblem Three Houses, and more. There's also a Discord server which will be linked in the description with my Twitch, in case you want to join and hang out more with the community. So with that again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully I'll see you again soon, my dudes. Bye!